Hey everyone, in this video we're gonna talk about conditionals. I already talked a little bit about it. I showed you a simple example, and now we're going to see some other use cases for conditionals. So conditionals are used to determine if a block of code should or should not be executed depending on a given set of conditions. So let's see what this means. Let's just copy all this, and then we are going to make some changes to this code. So here, this is very simple. We just have a variable called age. Now we are just testing if this is less than 18. If it is, we are going to show underage. If it's not, we are going to show overage. But now let's say we want to add more conditions. So I'm just going to change the age to 70. So now I just want to create another group, which will be the senior group. So people above 65 years old will be part of the senior group. People above 18 will be adults, and people below 18 is going to be underage. So let's get started with under 18, underage. This is good. And now we can include an else if. So by doing this, this is just like starting another if, but this is part of the same structure. So now the second condition is going to be if age is greater than or equal to 65. In this case, we are going to show senior. So now we just covered these two cases. So any other thing that happens will mean that the person is between 18 and 65 years old, because we already covered below 18 and above 65. So now any other age, we can use it inside the else. So now we're going to do console.log and just show adult. So by doing this, in this case, our age variable is 70. So if we refresh the page, now it's showing senior. Let's try to change it to 14. Now it's showing underage, and let's change it to 18. And now it's showing adult. So now we've just added one more condition to our structure. So one important thing is that no matter how many conditions we have, so we could have the first if statements and then 10 different else if statements. So no matter how many we have, the moment when JavaScript finds a true value, so let's say it finds it here, it's going to execute this code and then just ignore all the rest. So when JavaScript finds a true value, it just stops testing all the rest of the conditions. If there's no true value in any of the conditions, then the code inside the else statement will be executed. However, the else statement, it's not mandatory. So in some cases, we just don't want an else. We just need to execute something if some condition is true. If not, we just don't want to do anything. So this is possible as well. Now let's see how we can test multiple conditions at the same time using the AND and OR operators. So when we use AND, which can be represented by these two AND symbols, when we use it, all the conditions need to be true, so the code is executed. On the other hand, when using the OR, we just need one condition to be true to execute the code. So let's do an example so we can understand better how it works. So let's analyze the grade and absences of a student and determine if he's been approved in the course. To be approved, the student needs the grade to be 7 or higher and the number of absences 5 or lower. So let's just copy this and this one as well. Let's go to Visual Studio Code. we can just comment all this, Shift Alt A. Alright, so now first let's solve the problem using AND. So we know that in order to be approved, the student needs the grade to be 7 or higher and the number of absences 5 or lower. So we need to test two conditions at the same time. How do we do this? We just start an if statement. Then the first condition is going to be that the grade is greater than or equal to 7. And now we are testing multiple conditions that should happen at the same time. So we are going to use the AND operator here. And we also need the absences to be less than or equal to 5. If those things happen at the same time, so like I said, when we use the AND operator, we need all the conditions to be true. And we don't have to use only two conditions. We could add more here if we wanted. For this, we only need two conditions, so the grade and the absences. So if this is true and this is also true, then we are going to go inside here. So then we can do console.log and we can write the student has been approved. Otherwise, so inside the else statement, we can print the student has failed. So in this case, we have 7 and 3, so the student should be approved. Let's test this out. I'm just going to save this, refresh the page, and now we can see that the student has been approved. So now let me change the number of absences to 6. And now the grade is the same, but now we have absences above 5. So if we test this now the student has failed. So we can see that this is working. Now let's do the same thing using the OR operator. So this time what we need to do is a bit different because we only need one of the two conditions to return true. So in this case, instead of testing if the student went well, we are just going to do the opposite. So if the grade is below 7 or the absences are above 5, then we know that the student has failed. So if only one is true, if this one is true, no matter if the absences are good, because the student will fail. So in this case, we just have to change this. So in the first statement, the student will fail, and in the second one, the student will be approved. Now, before saving this, I just forgot to change the operator. So now we are using OR. So if this happens or this happens, then the student is going to fail. Save this, refresh the page, and now the student has failed. Let's try something else, like let's try the grade 5 and the absence is 3. The student should fail again because of the grade. Refresh the page. Now we can see that this is working. And now let's try 8 and 3. And if we do this, now the student has been approved. Alright, so these were the examples I wanted to show for now. Before we finish this subject, I still need to talk about two important things. So the first one is evaluating values as conditions. And I also want to talk about another way of writing conditionals, which is by using the ternary if. So let's do this in a separate video so this one doesn't get too long. So I'll wait for you in the next video so we can continue with this.